Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our conference lesson for today. My name is Alistair. I am your conference lesson teacher for today. And we're going to think about mastering politeness in grammar today. We're going to use softening language and hedging in order to help us master politeness in grammar. Okay, well, let's have a look at the agenda. So 4 points to our conference agenda today. Number 1, understanding politeness. Very important, of course. Number 2, softening requests and suggestions. We'll find out how to do that. Number 3, hedging for indirect speech. Okay. And the last part there, putting it all together. Okay, well, let's get started. Here we go. Number 1 then, understanding politeness. So we have our definition here. Okay, so politeness is the art of showing respect, kindness, and consideration in the way we communicate and behave with others. It's not just about good manners like saying please and thank you. It's also about being aware of how your words and actions affect people. So our words and actions often have consequences, and respect, kindness, and consideration in our language help to foster positive reactions from people and positive consequences. Okay. So why be polite? Well, let's find out why. So politeness helps us sound kind and respectful. In English, polite sentences are longer. We often use extra words to show and avoid, to show care and to avoid sounding rude. So we use extra words to show care and avoid sounding rude. Okay, well, let's take a look at some examples straight away. So direct versus polite sentences. Okay, so here's our example. Direct. Give me the book. Okay, a polite version. Could you give me the book, please? Direct. Close the door. Polite. Would you mind closing the door? So we can speak in a direct way, but direct language can be understood as being rude. And there are polite forms to everything we say in English. Give me the book. Could you give me the book, please? Close the door. Would you mind closing the door? Okay, well, let's have a look at some useful words. I'll read through the list. I'm just going to find... There we are. Just pop that microphone off. Okay, so we've got some useful words for politeness here. Some great useful vocabulary words. I'm going to read through the list of 10 words. I'll read each word twice to help you hear the pronunciation. So let's read through this list. Here we go. Number 1. Please. Please. Thank you. Thank you. Excuse me. Excuse me. Could. Could. Would. Would. Might. Might. If possible. If possible. When you have time. When you have time. I wonder. I wonder. And number 10, maybe. Maybe. So a good first list here of vocabulary words for politeness. You can take a screenshot, make a quick note of those, but they will appear, of course, throughout the conference lesson today. Well, let's have a look at a dialogue example, this time between our friends Archie and Ben. Let's have a listen to Archie and Ben. Archie, give me your pen. Ben, that sounds rude. Okay, could you please give me your pen? Yes, that sounds much better. Okay, well, thank you, Archie and Ben. Here's a tip for you guys. Tips for students. If you want to sound polite, use please, could you, or would you mind? Okay, these words make your sentence longer, but kinder. Okay, so that's a good tip. It's not the only way to create polite language, but we can start here. It's certainly a good base. Use please, could you, or would you mind? Okay, well, let's continue with part 2, softening requests. Softening requests and suggestions. So what is softening? Softening makes a request sound lighter. Instead of ordering, we ask kindly. Soft sentences are friendly, not bossy, and make people feel comfortable. So softening makes a request sound lighter. Instead of ordering, we ask kindly. Soft sentences are friendly, not bossy, and make people feel comfortable. So let's move on to our second list of vocabulary. We've got some great words for softening here. I'm going to read through the list of 9 words or expressions twice. Of course, have a listen, make any notes that you want to, perhaps take a screenshot. Here we go. Number 1, maybe. Maybe. Number 2, perhaps. Perhaps. Number 3, I think. I think. Number 4, I wonder. I wonder. Number 5, could. Could. Number 6, would. Would. Number 7, might. Might. Number 8, when you can. When you can. And lastly, number 9, at your convenience. At your convenience. Okay, great vocabulary words there, all used to help soften language. Well, let's have a look at some examples. We've got some direct sentences, some very direct language that may be understood as rude. And then we've got some softened language, something that is more polite. So let's have a listen. Direct. Close the window. Close the window. Now, softened, this could be, could you close the window, please? Could you close the window, please? Let's have a look at the next one. Direct. I want some help. Softened. I was wondering if you could help me. I was wondering if you could help me. Very nice. Let's have a look at the next one. That's wrong. Softened. I'm not sure that's quite right. I'm not sure that's quite right. And the last example here, give me the menu. Softened. Would you mind giving me the menu, please? Would you mind giving me the menu, please? Well, we've got some more suggestions with softening here. This time direct and then softened. Let's have a listen. Change your seat. Okay, softened. Maybe you could change your seat. A direct sentence. Do this exercise. Softened. Perhaps you might try this exercise first. Okay. And requests with softening. Okay, so we've got some requests with softening here. Let's have a listen to the direct and then the softened version. Direct. Send the photo. The softened version. Could you send the photo when you can? Could you send the photo when you can? Another direct example. Help me now. This could be softened, of course. Would you mind helping me when possible? Would you mind helping me when possible? Okay, so those were a couple of requests with softening. Well, here we move on to the third part of the conference today, which is now called hedging for indirect speech. So what is hedging? Well, hedging means not speaking too directly and with less commitment. So hedging means not speaking too directly with less commitment. We use soft words like maybe, seems, or a bit. It makes speech less strong and more polite. So we use soft words when we're hedging, words like maybe, seems, or a bit. Let's check some key words related to hedging. Here we go. Some vocabulary words related to hedging then. So I shall read through the list twice. Please listen. Here we go. Number 1, maybe, maybe. Number 2, seems, seems. Number 3, a little, a little. Number 4, kind of, kind of. Number 5, probably, probably. Number 6, I think, I think. Number 7, I guess, I guess. Number 8, perhaps, perhaps. Number 9, usually, usually. Okay, so these are all great words that we can use in soft sentences for hedging. Well, let's continue. Have a look at some examples here. I'll read each one twice. So, I think it might be better to wait before making a decision. I think it might be better to wait before making a decision. It seems that people are becoming more interested in online learning. It seems that people are becoming more interested in online learning. I guess this approach could work, but I'm not completely sure. I guess this approach could work, but I'm not completely sure. Perhaps we should consider another option. Perhaps we should consider another option. Now, these examples, they may seem less strong or weak, but in reality, we can use them in language just to make a suggestion softer and less direct. So in English, these aren't perceived necessarily as being weak. They're just perceived as being polite. ways to make a suggestion. Okay, well, let's continue. Here we go. So we have an exercise for you. We're going to think about some context. Okay, the office, that is our context. And the chat exercise for you, if you wish to participate, is write 3 request questions that you would ask in the office, keeping in mind the softeners we have seen so far. Okay, so I'll put an example into the chat. Okay, so perhaps you could share your contacts. Okay, so in this context, I'm speaking to a colleague at work at the office, and I would like them to share my contacts. Now, I don't say share your contacts. It's too direct. We need to think of a polite, soft way to do it. Okay, well, we've got another example here. Thank you. Please, could I have a cup of coffee? Absolutely. Of course, we can put that into a direct form, such as, I want a cup of coffee, but could I have? Please, could I have a cup of coffee? Another one here, please, can I get your email? Absolutely. Again, this is a lot more polite and softer than, I want your email. Please, can I get your email? Another great example here, could you send this letter? Okay, it's soft. It's not send this letter. It's a soft sentence. So we've used please, could, can. Okay, so there is a recurrence here with some recurring vocabulary. Okay, now it's not easy to think of examples on the spot like this, but it was a useful exercise just to try and practice with some of the words and expressions that we've used so far today. So well done, guys. Okay, we won't stay on this any longer, but we'll continue and have a look at the next part of the lesson today. But well done, everybody. Okay, here we go. So, a tip on hedging. Notice the hedging words. Maybe, might, perhaps, could, consider. They make the suggestion sound gentler or softer, leaving space for agreement or disagreement. Indeed, they do. Well, let's check them out in the following examples. So we've got even more examples to think about. Good context, good, polite context. So more hedging in suggestions. Here we go. Have a listen to these. I'll read through each of these twice. Maybe we could try starting the meeting a bit earlier. Maybe we could try starting the meeting a bit earlier. It might be a good idea to review the report once more. It might be a good idea to review the report once more. Perhaps you could speak to the manager about this. Perhaps you could speak to the manager about this. We could consider taking a break now. We could consider taking a break now. It might help if we used simpler examples. It might help if we use simpler examples. Okay, so there we go. Great. Well, let's have a little look at the last part for today, which is putting it all together. Okay, so how do we do that? So, complex polite sentences. Right, now this is great because in reality, we can join softening and hedging in longer sentences for even more politeness. Here's a great example. Maybe we could start earlier, if that's possible. Okay, so maybe we could start earlier. That's great. Now we add even more politeness, if that's possible. We're giving the opportunity for someone to say, well, then it's not possible. But that politeness can be conveyed with double politeness, complex polite sentences. So this sounds polite, clear, and friendly. Okay, well, let's have a look at some more expressions related to our more complex softening and hedging sentences. Number 1, if possible. If possible. Number 2, when you have time. When you have time. Number 3, as far as I know. As far as I know. Number 4, it might help if. It might help if. Number 5, would you mind if? Would you mind if? And lastly, number 6, could you please? Could you please? Okay, well, more great examples for you. Well, we're coming towards the end of the lesson now, but we're going to have a look at this part here. It's a conversation in the office, okay, between Anna and Mark, and it's very polite. Okay, so have a listen as I read through this polite conversation in the office. Anna: hey, could you please check this report for me? Mark: sure, I can do that when you have time to explain the details. No problem. As far as I know, everything is complete, but a second opinion would help. It might help if you add a summary at the beginning. Good idea. Would you mind if I sent you a draft tonight? Not at all. If possible, I'll review it before tomorrow morning. There we go. Well, thanks, Anna. Thanks, Mark. A very polite conversation at the office. Okay. So that brings us nicely onto our conclusion for the lesson today. Have a listen. In conclusion, being polite with complex sentences makes English sound kind and respectful, using softening and hedging to ask, to suggest, or give opinions without sounding rude. Politeness always helps communication. Okay, well, that is it for today. So thanks everyone for your participation, for your attendance, of course, as well. It was great to have you all here. It just remains for me to thank you on behalf of everyone there at the office at Cercle de Langue. I will be back here next Monday. I sure hope you'll be able to join me then. Until then, it's time to say goodbye. Have a great week, everyone. Take care of yourselves.